fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the Blokees Transformers Defender version 03 Heavy Metal War. This is the smaller class, probably about 2.5 to 3 inches tall. I really love these. I think they're super fun little figures. Blokees, as we know, does all kinds of different size classes. They have probably their most famous size class being the Galaxy version. They also do the Starlight version for some of like the Toku properties, and then they have these smaller Defender version size, and they're just such fun little figures. I really, really love these. I'm super excited about the assortment here. We have Soundwave, we have Grimlock, Jazz. We're getting the 3 Constructicons that we don't have yet in the vehicle mode, so we'll have the full team after that. Hot Rod, I've been waiting for them to do Hot Rod for a while. I'm very excited about that as well. We also have the Universal Connector. So this is something they've put together, which I think is really neat. And what it does is, if you have those other size classes, like I mentioned, the Galaxy version or the Starlight version, you can use these connectors to swap parts and make your own creations, which I think is a really neat idea. So obviously, for these smaller figures, like the ball joints and things are smaller than what you would need for the Galaxy version, and these kind of bridge the gap. So they'll take like a smaller connection and turn it into a larger connection, or vice versa, and I just think that's really fun. I think that's a really cool idea, and really just adds so much creativity to everything, which I think is really cool. So huge shout out and thank you to Blokees for sending these over for the purpose of this review. I'm really excited to play with the Universal Connector. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. If we take a look here, you can see the breakdown. So there are 12 boxes here, like smaller boxes inside, and we have the case breakdown here. So you have Grimlock, Hot Rod, Jazz, Skywarp, Shattered Glass Optimus, as well as Shattered Glass Optimus in vehicle mode. You have Soundwave, you have a gold version of Megatron, Shockwave, and then there's 3 Constructicons in vehicle mode that I mentioned. With Grimlock and Soundwave, there are chances to get, like, you know, rarer versions. So it looks like there's the normal Grimlock, then there's kind of a Grimlock with like a metallic sheen, and then there's Grimlock with his wings and a sword that's kind of translucent, which I think looks really cool. I'm really excited about Soundwave here. You can get Soundwave kind of a metallic version with Ravage, or Soundwave with Laserbeak and Ravage. So really, really cool. And then just to pop the box open here so you can see what the individual boxes look like. Oh, cool, they have one of these. I love when they do this. They include a little card in here. I think that looks so cool. I love like the holofoil on there. Very, very fun. I like that a lot. So you have one of these kind of larger like trading card type things. That's really cool. Taking a look at the individual boxes, you can see we have Grimlock here on the front. Again, have that kind of cool holofoil effect there. And then showing you the breakdown here on the back. So really fun. I like these quite a bit. I'm really excited to check these out. So let's go ahead and get one of these opened up. Alright, so if we pop one of these open, you can see that inside we have the bag of pieces. Sometimes you'll get one of these, like, you know, moisture absorber pieces as well. And then here's the card inside. So we can see right off the bat here that this one is going to be Grimlock. You have a little QR code there. The directions here on the back. Since these are kind of like simpler figures, you don't have the giant like pamphlet that you would need for the Galaxy version, just because they're not as complicated, so you don't need that many instructions. But I think that's cool, just a fun little collector card there with the instructions on the back. So getting all of this stuff out of the way, we'll go ahead and open up the bag so you can see the parts that are included. So we will dump this out. And I feel like there's a piece in there. Always check the corners of these bags, because I'm always leaving a little connection piece or something in the corner. So always make sure you've gotten everything out of there. So let me adjust this, and we'll take a look at what we got here. So we have our torso piece. We have our feet pieces. Looks like I got the translucent sword. Looking pretty good. I don't think this is the super rare version, but I'll have to double check. We have the waist piece. Here's the helmet. We have our little fists. This looks like a shoulder piece. This is probably an insert for inside the head for the eyes. We have our shin pieces there, elbows, back of the shin pieces. So Everything you need is here. I will go ahead and show you how to put one of these together. All right, so we'll start off with assembling one of the legs. You're going to need one of the shin pieces. And if you take a look, I believe that they are exactly the same. So I don't think you have to worry about, which side you're putting them on. But you're going to take the back of the calf piece and peg that in here, like so. Then you're going to connect the foot onto the ball joint, like so. And then you're just going to take the upper thigh piece, pop that in, and there you go. That is one of your legs done. So I built the second leg exactly the same way, and now that that's done, we're going to take our waist piece here and connect the two ball joints. And then we're going to take the torso piece and connect that on top. The arms are very easy to assemble. We're going to take the forearm piece and we're going to peg in one of the fists. And then we are going to take the shoulder piece and peg that in right there. So there is one of our arms done. So I have done the other arm the exact same way, and we're just going to pop these onto these ball joints here very simply. You can see that the robot is taking shape here now. We're going to take the Grimlock head helmet, and we're going to take this blue piece here, which is going to fill in the bottom so he has his visor filled in. And we're going to just pop that in there, and then pop that onto the top. And then we're going to come around to the back and peg in this piece here. And there you go. Our Grimlock is finished. We will give him his translucent sword accessory here. So I did check the card again, and it says that I have the special galaxy type. So that's kind of the middle silver tier one. But still, very, very cool. I think he looks great. I love the sheen that he has to him. And as you can see, they're very simple to put together, these tiny little figures. I like them so much. You can build them very quickly. They have great articulation. So the head's on a ball joint here, so you can move it. You can look up a little bit, look down a little bit, side to side, even tilt side to side a little bit. You have a really nice range of motion here at the ball joint at the shoulder. Then you have the ball joint there at the elbow. You have a ball joint at the wrist as well, so you can rotate that around. Then you do have a ball joint here at the waist, so you can get a little bit of an ab crunch, but mostly just a spin side to side. You have a ball joint here in the hip, so you can kick out to the side, kick forward, kick back, nice range of motion there. Ball joint at the knee, so you can spin side to side, nice knee bend there. And then you have a ball joint at the ankle, so you go front to back and side to side, ankle tilt. So just a really fun, great tiny little figure. I really like these quite a bit. And all of the detail here is either paint or tampoed stickers. Nothing has to be applied on your own. It comes right out of the box, ready to go, snap together quickly, and just a really awesome, fun little figure. I love these quite a bit. So opening up the universal connector here, you can see the bag of all the parts in here. And it's actually kind of cool because not only do they give you the connector parts, but they give you this really neat little storage box to keep them all in so you can keep track of everything. Okay, this looks like, there we go. I'm always looking for the easy to rip area there. Very nice. So that way you can open the bag, no problem. Put that off to the side. So you can see you have the sprue here with all of the individual different connectors there. And then you have this little box here, which is actually really cool. So you can pop this on. So that way you have like a little storage lid there. And then you just come around and pop this on like so. And then you have this nice little box here that closes up real nice and snug. Like that's not going to fall out of there. So you can put all the pieces in there and carry it around. Very nice and secure. I really appreciate how nicely and snugly that closes, because with a bunch of little pieces, you don't want this accidentally falling out while you're carrying it around or storing it somewhere. So that's a really nice solid connection. I really like that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get all these guys off the sprue and we'll give these a shot. So as you can see here, there are 5 different connector types. You get 2 of each, which is really nice. And I didn't show it off, but I wanted to mention that popping them out of the sprue is very simple. You don't need clippers or anything like that. You can just pop them right out with your hands. It's very simple. So you can really do a bunch of crazy stuff. So if I bring Grimlock back in here, for example, and say we have Alpha Trion here from the most recent Galaxy version wave, I could pop their arms off. And then what I could do is I could take like this connector here, which is for a small connection on this side, but it has the larger ball joint over here, and then I could use that to connect. Whoops, popped it off there. Might be easier if I do this one first. Pop this here into Alpha Trion's shoulder, and then pop this on here. And now, you know, Grimlock has a ridiculously giant arm. It's clobbering time. I love it. So you could do something silly like that. Conversely, you can take the large connector and pop that on here, but then it goes to the smaller connection. And so I could use that to pop Grimlock's hand on here to give him a super tiny little Grimlock hand, which just looks absurd. I think that's really funny. So you can do all kinds of crazy stuff like this. I think this is such a fun little idea, you know, to make these things kind of cross-compatible, because they did have kind of different connection points. And so now you can very easily swap these around. And like, say, for example, if I would take like these pieces off of here and I wanted to, you know, use this to pop this in here and make it like a smaller connection, then I could take these feet off and give Alpha Trion super tiny Grimlock feet. You know what? Let's just go ahead. Let's do it. Let's swap their feet out completely, because I actually think that's kind of hilarious. Oops, this needs to come out. There we go. So pop this little piece here into that. We'll pop Grimlock's leg off and pop that in here. And there you go. Now he's got tiny little Grimlock legs, which is kind of hilarious. So what we can do over here, if we leave these back in, we can take these larger ones, and I believe, let's see, I'm going to need a smaller, I might have to take this piece out. I shouldn't have plugged it back in. There we go. So if I want to take these smaller connections, and then I want to use like this to go in here, and then I can pop this in here and give him the ridiculously gigantic feet. That might actually be the wrong connector. Let me try this. There we go. There we go. And I can give him ridiculously giant legs. I think that's really fun. So it's just, there's a lot of creativity you can do here. I think this is such a fun idea to kind of mix and match these things. So this is really cool. This should be available soon, if it's not already, wherever you usually buy your Blokees stuff. And if you get more than one of them, you can see the little connections here. You can clip them next to each other. You can stack them on top, as you can see. So just a really fun, cool little add-on product. It just gives you more creativity options. You know, gives you the ability to kind of mix and match all the pieces. The more Blokees stuff you collect, the more crazy combinations you can make. And I think that's really neat. All right, so here are all the figures fully assembled. Well, I should say here are most of the figures. For the first time ever, I actually got a duplicate. Usually when I buy these, you buy like a full case, you get the full assortment. Some of the figures have the ability to be like a rare version, like we saw here with Grimlock. This is the like silver tiered one, but you usually get one of every figure. For the first time ever, I actually got 2 Shockwaves, and I did not get the vehicle form for Shattered Glass Optimus. It was weird, like I said, never saw that before, but I guess it's apparently a possibility. But in any case, here are the other 11 figures. So we have Hot Rod, Jazz, Grimlock, Shockwave, Soundwave, Shattered Glass Optimus Prime, this kind of like Golden Lagoon version of Megatron, Skywarp, and then we have the last 3 Constructicon vehicles. So I'm just going to show these off pretty quick. They don't have robot modes or anything like this, but they are made to eventually form Devastator, which I think is really cool. The bummer part is that you do need a box of extra pieces, because there's kind of like the waist and thigh connection. There's like the head, the chest shield, a couple pieces like that, the forearms and fists for Devastator. And apparently that is available in like a box of pieces, but it is not available in the US market. I did ask about it, and they said that they couldn't, they didn't have it because the licensor, I think, didn't clear them to sell it in the US, so I guess it's Hasbro's fault, so that's kind of a bummer. But what is kind of cool is, so you can see here, you know, here's Scrapper in vehicle mode. but you can, you know, pop the bucket up and then the hands swing down and click into place. And then this is on a ball joint here at this connection, so you can kind of move this around. And so like it will form, you know, one of the legs here of Devastator. You have Mixmaster here, and then you unpeg it from here, and you can see there's a connection there. You peg it into the top here, and then he's got kind of a ball joint too. So you can kind of see you got Devastator's legs here, which I think is really cool. I think that's such a neat idea, because they've done other vehicle modes in this line for the Defender version, but when they did the Constructicons, they actually made them able to form Devastator, which I think is fantastic. So I don't know, I guess I'll have to track down one of those pieces on eBay or something, because I think they're allowed to sell them in other markets. So I don't exactly know how that works, but that's kind of a bummer there. But I think these Constructicon vehicles are really neat. So I think they did a great job here. I love the Decepticon symbol there in the bucket. I think that looks fantastic. The Decepticon symbol here on the drum, I think looks good. Really nice and sharp there with the white paint. You know, again, all of these details are tampoed on, so you don't have to apply any of the stickers yourself. And then for long haul here, I'm assuming what happens is you have to disconnect this top section here, which is pegged in very snugly, but you can get this off of here eventually. Come on. And then I think this part's just going to come off, and you can see there's kind of like a big ball joint connector there. And I'm assuming, oh no, that was a little snug, and it looks like I bent it a little bit. So be careful with that. It is a very snug connection. I think it's just because it's such a long tab, but just be careful, because I did, you can see a little bit of stress mark there. It's still fine. It's still very securely connected there. It's pretty strong, but I did unfortunately bend it a little too much. There's a little bit of a stress mark there, so just be a little careful with that. But then this just connects back on here, and then you can see that there is a connector point here, here, and here, so you just line that up, and this slides on there like so. Nice Decepticon symbol on there as well. And you can see like that's going to be probably a tab where the chest shield plugs into. So I got to track down that stuff. But the 3 Constructicon vehicles are very cool. I'm glad we finally have all 6 now. Let's go ahead and dive into the figures here. So we already really saw Grimlock. He looks fantastic. Hot Rod came out great. This is, you know, one of my favorite characters. I've always loved his design. I think he came out great. You got the blue eyes there. The shield on the back looks good. He has one normal hand, and he can hold his gun. And then his other hand, they gave him his saw blade from the movie, which I think is cool. It spins really nicely. I kind of wish they had included a second fist, just in case you wanted the option to take that off and give him a regular fist. But they did not, so you just have to keep him there with the... Or you could probably take a fist from somebody else he could borrow, I guess. But they all really have the same articulation, you know, with the head. The nice ball joints for the shoulders, ball joints at the elbows, waist there, hips, knees, and ankles. So if anyone has any different articulation, I'll point it out, but just assume they pretty much all have the same. But yeah, Hot Rod came out fantastic. We also have Jazz. Hold on, stand up there. So here's Jazz. He comes with like a little megaphone accessory, which I think is kind of cool. He's got great detail there on the chest. Head came out great. He looks pretty good. I like how he came out. Here is Shockwave. Now, Shockwave is done in translucent plastic, which is actually kind of cool. I think that's neat. He has a little tube that goes from the back into his gun, which I think works well. He has the one gun hand. He looks great. I think the translucent plastic is really neat. Next up, we have Soundwave. Unfortunately, I got the most basic version of Soundwave, so no Ravage or Laserbeak for me, which is kind of a bummer, but he does look really cool. I think he looks great. The colors they really nailed on there. And I like how he has, like, there's a separate ball joint here for his shoulder gun, so you can kind of move that around if you want, which I like. And then he also has the normal gun there. But yeah, he came out great. Then we have Shattered Glass Optimus Prime. We've seen, I think Optimus Prime, the normal Optimus Prime was in the first assortment. So this is just a repaint of that. But great color scheme. They did a really nice job with the detail there on the chest and everything. Excellent little figure. And then we have like this Golden Lagoon version of Megatron here, and it's kind of interesting because I think we had a gold Bumblebee in the first wave, and then we had a gold Soundwave in the second wave, and now they've given us a gold Megatron, and they're all slightly different. I don't think any of the other ones had this translucent yellow before, but they decided to give him translucent fists, thighs, and feet. But he looks cool. I really like the red eyes. I think that came out great. You know, he's got the arm cannon. He's got the cannon over here over the shoulder. Megatron's a great mold. He looks really good. And then we have Skywarp. I think we had Thundercracker and Starscream in the previous wave, so now we have all three Seekers, which is great. And these guys look good. And then they have the guns here that just peg onto the shoulders. They're not ball joints, but I don't really need them to be. They just kind of, you know, you can get him to fire his cannon. He looks good. I'm glad they gave him the shoulder null rays, or I don't know, are they null rays for Skywarp? I don't know. Great detailing here on the back. That looks really sharp. So I love these little figures. I really do. It's just something about them being like very tiny and like simplistic for building, but they still have all the great articulation, which I really love. So, like I said, bit of a bummer that I missed out on the alt mode for Shattered Glass Optimus. That's the one I don't have. And that one came with the commemorative coin. There's like, you get one of 3 little coins in that set as well. So I missed out on that, which is a bummer. But I also really love the 3 Constructicon vehicles. They really look good. And I have to track down those Devastator parts because that's going to be really, really cool when I can finally put that all together. But yeah, it's a fun little set. Definitely recommend checking it out. You know, wherever you buy your Blokees, definitely check out this wave. And I love them. I love these little figures. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Huge thank you again to Blokees for sending these for review. Again, let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching.